as night falls in Rome and Vatican City. Tonight, one truly historic global event. The faithful gathering back here in America, more than 6,000 miles away. American families coming together. They don't know why. Only that it will be a television first. David Muir, inside the Vatican walls with Pope Francis. Because before the Pope comes to America, America comes to the Pope.
Aquí en el Vaticano.
Hundreds gathered in 3 U.S. cities.
Chicago, Los Angeles, and McAllen, Texas.
Today is going to be a day you will never forget.
About to learn they're getting their moment with the Pope.
I want to tell you something, Marcus. You're going to talk to Pope Francis tomorrow.
Are you serious?
Oh my gosh.
Americans overcome.
This is their moment with Pope Francis.
A never-before-seen event, a town hall, a virtual papal audience with the People's Pope.
Papa Francisco.
The tears from a struggling mother.
I've made some mistakes.
To the young people.
Your Holiness, it is so nice to meet you.
Their trembling voices and brave hearts. To the surprise request from the Pope in English.
Sing a song for me?
To the American nun who had no idea what the Pope was about to do. Tonight, a once-in-a-lifetime event.
Do you have a message for America before your visit?
Reporting from the Vatican with the ABC News exclusive, Pope Francis and the People. Here's David Muir.
Good evening. Tonight from the Vatican, where Pope Francis is preparing for his visit to the United States. And right here this evening, we take you inside the Vatican for a special and rare event, an historic first for American television. Pope Francis is about to connect with families, with young people across the United States, a virtual papal audience. He'll take questions and hear stories of hardship and survival. We have never seen something quite like this from a pope, but this pope, after all, is already breaking the mold.
Our journey to the Vatican, where millions visit every year, drawn here by their faith and their fascination with a pope who is of the people and who has opened doors in ways we have never seen before, face to face with his followers and hand to hand with so many children. And we have been invited here for an historic first, walking into St. Peter's Square, where so many have come to hear Pope Francis, but we are drawn here for something else. To connect the Pope to everyday Americans back home who have no idea they're about to ask the Pope their questions. Because as they sit there, I find myself standing outside this back door inside Vatican walls, where they tell me the Pope will soon emerge. I would stand there and wait. We are just a few steps from the Pope's modest residence. In one of his first signals that he would be different, Pope Francis chose to forego the grand papal apartment, instead choosing to live with other priests in a simple building. The surprises from this Pope began the moment he stepped onto that balcony, wearing white, a simple cassock, his orthopedic shoes. That night, a limo waiting, he instead chooses the van with the very cardinals who had just named him Pope, returning to his hotel to pay the bill himself, now riding in a Ford Focus, telling priests and nuns to drive humble cars. We saw it here in Rome, the nuns waving to us. Pope Francis has never used a computer, owned a cell phone, but he is on Twitter, tweets approved by him, 22 million followers, the first pope to take a selfie. Times Person of the Year, Esquire, Rolling Stone, the cover reading, Times, they are a-changing. Everywhere he travels, surrounded by millions. Lifting children, the boy who kissed the Pope's crucifix, the heart he drew from the window, not once, but twice. And Pope Francis is about to come to the U.S. We asked Americans across this country if they ever met the Pope, what would they ask?
If I met Pope Francis, I would ask him, how does he give hope to the hopeless?
I would ask the Pope, how can I help those in need when I am in need?
I would buy him a beer and ask him, what's the secret to life?
If I met the Pope, I would ask how to be a more impactful youth.
All questions if they ever met him. all drawn in by his common touch. Outspoken on the poor, immigration, climate change, and famously saying, if someone is gay and searches for the Lord, who am I to judge?
He wants the church to be a place of comfort for people rather than a place of judgment.
And now back inside the Vatican where I'd been waiting, the door suddenly opens. The door closes, and Pope Francis is standing right there. A simple request. He wanted to meet me before the cameras. The Pope emerges. Our walk to the room in the Vatican where he will now take questions from Americans back home. And hundreds of them are just now seeing the Pope too. Cristo Rey Jesuit High School, Chicago. The Sacred Heart Catholic Church in McAllen, Texas. And in Los Angeles, they see the Pope too. They just learned they're about to meet Pope Francis, a virtual papal audience, a conversation with him, unprecedented. The Pope entering the room. A smile from him, surprised at the scope of the crew. He shakes everyone's hand in that room and blesses them. And then we would sit down with the Pope.
Su Santidad, es un gran honor estar con usted aquí en el Vaticano y muchas gracias por su tiempo hoy.
Lo hago con gusto.
We tell him we are honored, speaking in English and in Spanish, his native language.
We are curious if you have a message before your visit to the United States.
Un saludo grande.
A big hello.
Gran saludo.
A big hello
a la comunidad católica
to the Catholic community of the United States and to everyone, to all citizens of the United States. That's my message, an affectionate greeting.
Muchas gracias. Holy Father, we want to take you now to Chicago, to the Cristo Rey Jesuit School. Ahora, nos vamos a Chicago a la Escuela Jesuita Cristo Rey. My colleague Tom Llamas is there with students. Tom, this is their moment with Pope Francis.
David, thank you. Holy Father, as you know, we are here in Cristo Rey High School. All the students here are so special. They live amid gang violence. They come from low-income neighborhoods, yet somehow they not only are overcoming the odds, they are beating the odds. Many of the men and women you see here will be the first in their families to attend college. But there are two young women we'd like you to meet. The first is Valerie Herrera. Valerie, if you can come up and talk to us.
Hello, Holy Father. It is such a privilege to be talking to you. My story. Since I was 4, I started to get my vitiligo around my eye, and it was something that I didn't know what was happening, right? But when I started going to school, well, you know, I was picked on. I was bullied because of how I looked like. Thank you.
It's okay.
Well, music has always been something I was able to use to escape all the bullying and everything. And I joined the choir in middle school, and it was just something that was helping me to show people who I really was. And it wasn't just the girl that looks different from everyone else, but the girl that has many talents and that is not just someone who looks different, but just a normal girl like everyone else. So my question is, what are you expecting from us, the youth? What are you expecting us to do to be?
The Pope, after hearing Valerie's story about bullying in her childhood, finding music to overcome it, is about to surprise us all in English.
Valerie, I would like to hear you singing. May I ask of you to sing a song for me?
Sure.
Go on, go on.
Okay.
Take a deep breath. You got this.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You got this.
And it wasn't only the Pope encouraging her. We spot Valerie's mother right there in the church, signaling with her hands. You can do it.
Okay.
Be courageous.
Well, this song is in Spanish, so. Junto a ti, María, como niño quiero estar. Tómame en tus brazos, guíame en mi caminar. Quiero que me eduques, que me enseñes a rezar. Hazme transparente, lléname de paz.
Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Y mi primera respuesta
My first response to your question
es esa.
is that
Lo que espero de los
what I
jóvenes
hope for from youth
es que no
is for you all not to walk alone in life.
es el primer paso.
That's the first step. I hope for many other things
Que se animen
that you feel encouraged
con el
to
amor
walk
y la
with the
ternura
love and the tenderness
de los
of
demás.
others. Life is very difficult. It's difficult to walk
Uno
alone.
se pierde,
You get lost.
uno se confunde,
You get confused.
puede detenerse.
You can stop because you get tired of walking in life.
El joven tiene que buscar en la vida
Each young person has to seek
alguien
someone
que
in
lo
life
ayude en el
to
camino.
help them along the path.
Puede ser su papá, su
This might be
mamá,
your
un
father, your
pariente,
mother,
un
a
amigo,
kinsman, a
un
friend,
abuelo, una
a
abuela,
grandmother
los
or
abuelos.
grandfather,
Pero alguien que te ayude a
but someone
confrontar
that will
las
help you to
cosas de la
face
vida.
things in life.
Caminar acompañado, primero.
First, walk with
Segundo,
company.
de los jóvenes espero
Second,
que caminen
I
con
hope that young
valentía.
people walk with courage. It was difficult for you just now to take the first step on that path when I asked you to sing for me. You were excited, you didn't know how, but you were courageous and you took the first step and you sang very beautifully. Keep singing. You sing beautifully.
O sea, la valentía te da alegría.
Courage
Y la
gives you
alegría te da
joy,
esperanza,
and joy
que es un
gives you
regalo de
hope,
Dios,
which is a
obviamente.
gift of God, obviously.
Ustedes tienen
You
la
have the
fuerza para
strength to
vencerlo.
overcome.
No se
Don't be
asusten, no se
scared. Don't
detengan.
stop.
Siempre adelante, con
Always move
valentía,
forward with
con
courage
esperanza.
and with hope.
Y Dios
And if
si se lo
you
piden,
ask
te
God,
dará esa esperanza.
God will give you that hope.
Esa es mi respuesta.
That's my response, Valerie.
Y gracias por
And thank you for the song.
Thank you, Holy Father.
Valerie, thank you so much. Holy Father, we want to introduce you to another young woman who is also incredibly courageous. Alexandra Vasquez, if you can come up now.
17-year-old Alexandra Vasquez is next, telling Pope Francis her story.
Hello, Holy Father.
Her lifelong struggle to overcome the loss of her father, who died when she was just 5.
Sometimes it gets really hard, and sometimes, I don't really sleep much, but I try to think about my dad and how he would want me to be a good person. So I always try to make him proud. I hope that I can make a difference in people's lives.
Muchas gracias, Alexandra. Go on by the path. God bless you.
A smile from Alexandra and from Valerie. I turn to Pope Francis. A song for the Pope? That's difficult.
Canción para el Papa es difícil.